Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ultimate guide for your CFI check ride. I am the Jack Pilot, and today we're going to be going through the FOI Area 1 of Operation Task A. It's going to be a series going through Task A through F of the FOIs, as well as later on getting into the technical subject areas. And I'll produce a video, one by one, going through everything in order, so you'll be able to pass your CFI check ride. So yeah, we'll go through everything on Task A, starting with the elements of human behavior. So we'll start out with that. So the definition of human behavior. Essentially, the definition of human behavior is like the study of why and how humans do what they do. All right, that's basically the definition of it. Another thing you can use, the product of factors that lead people to act in predictable ways. More or less the same thing. Now, moving on to the instructor and learner relationship. Now, the instructor and learner are going to have different personalities, essentially, right? So, if I am not connecting really well with my instructor because we have, he has a different way of learning and teaching and different personality, I have a different personality, just like certain friend groups rather. One friend group is really tight knit here, but you may not be friends with these people because they do something else, right? They have different personality types, things like that. So this is going to be relating to the instructor-learner relationship. Then we move on to human needs and motivation. These actually go together. This relates to the Maslow's hierarchy, which I'll go over right here. This is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So at the bottom we have the physiological things. These are going to be your basic things like hunger, food, shelter, water, the essentials, essentially. The next step above that is going to be safety and security. So not feeling physically threatened, out of work, homeless, or things, etc. So safe. They want to feel safe in their environment. If you have a flight school, you need a card or a key to enter that door. It's going to help them feel safe as well. Then we have love and belonging. Students always want to feel loved. They want to feel like they belong in their environment that they're getting instruction from. Even at school or at home, they want to feel belonged and loved. And then the next step above that, we have esteem. Is basically aimed at essentially feeling like a good accomplishment, and students need to kind of feel good about themselves when they're doing something. Whatever it is, they need to feel good about what they're doing, feel good about themselves. And at the top, and ultimately what we want to achieve, is the self-actualization and the pinnacle of all needs. And essentially, the student needs to feel this is what they were meant to do. All right, that's essentially what it is. Then moving on to the defense mechanisms. Now, there's an acronym I like to use, actually, so my Microsoft Paint is messed up, so I have to use this website now. But we're going to use DR, Doctor, FCPR. So these are going to be, or this is the acronym I use for the defense mechanisms. All right, so first we have denial. Then we have repression. We have displacement. We have, why am I blanking right now? Let me pull this up. We have rationalization, and then we have fantasy, then we have compensation, projection, and then reaction formation. So go over those. Make sure you know this acronym. So Dr. FCPR. It should be also in the Aviation Instructor's Handbook, in this book right here, via the FA. So I would use that acronym to go through the defense mechanisms. So, and then moving on to learner emotional reactions, including anxiety and stress. Now, you can use this right here for anxiety and stress. I like to have this right here. So we have abnormal, and then we have normal. or sorry, we have anxiety. All right, then we have normal reaction. Don't mind my writing. Then we have abnormal reaction. And then we have super or seriously abnormal. All right, so we have anxiety, normal reactions, abnormal reactions, and seriously abnormal reactions. Now, this anxiety is going to be a feeling of, worriness or nervousness, the impending doom of essentially something, right? And then we have the normal reactions to stress. These are going to be things like rational thinking and going back to the onset of training, what the student this is the reaction that you actually want out of a student. Whereas abnormal reactions, these things include like singing, doing things like with their hands, or painstaking self-control, extreme over cooperation, laughing, joking. These are going to be more for abnormal reactions. Then we have seriously abnormal reactions, which can be very dangerous, honestly, and essentially when it comes time to address a seriously abnormal student reaction or a seriously abnormal student, then you need to figure out a time to come together with them and talk with them about how you're going to continue training, or even if they should continue training. And it's at the end of your career, for CFIing at least, you'll at least do this once or twice, doing having that conversation with the student. So when your DPE is going through this, I would bring that up with this. So and then moving on to impatience. So actually, we can kind of break this down a little bit into another acronym, which is I like to do WIPU. So let me do this here. Sorry, give me 1 second. I need to redo this. Okay, cool. All right, so then we have for this poo. All right, so this we have worry or worrying, right? We have impatience. I know I made another I. It's okay. Then we have like your physical, uh, and then we have unfair treatment. So this is the acronym you can use at least for this section right here. So we have the anxiety and stress taken care of. We have impatience and worry, lack of interest, physical discomfort, and then apathy kind of goes at the end, but we'll talk about that in a second. But this right here, impatience and worry or lack of interest, you can use this acronym called WIPU. So worry. Students going to be worried about something. They're worrying about stuff at home. They're worrying about their mother or their father, their kid, or whatever it is. And also they're impatient. They're impatient about their training. They want to get done because they have, let's say, they have to leave the country maybe, or leave the state maybe in a couple weeks, and they have to get all their training done in that short amount of time, to get signed up for a check ride possibly, right? They're going to be impatient about that. Then we have the physical. The physical is going to be like discomfort. It's literally listed out right here: the illness, fatigue, and dehydration. Right. So this is again, this is going to be the Maslow's hierarchy, right? And then your DP will love you because you said, "Oh wow, this relates back to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of the physiological needs," right? This is going to be very important when you're noting this, at least, about just bringing that stuff up like that. They'll really like that. That you know what you're talking about, at least relating these things back to other FOI knowledge areas, and even for the technical subject areas. Then lastly, we have unfair treatment. Unfair treatment is going to be where CFIs, they have a bunch of students they need to take care of, right? And maybe one student the instructor likes a lot more to fly with, so they enjoy flying more with them, and maybe not you because for whatever reason your personalities don't click, or the kind of favoritism aspect of it. So this is kind of a tricky situation right here with the unfair treatment. And it's best to kind of just address it with your CFI, or if you're in training, address it with your CFI, or go to a higher up and ask for a different instructor. Because at the end of the day, some personalities won't click, and that's fine, and that's okay. And we have to accept that when we're going into flight instructing training, especially since assuming you're watching this video and everyone wants to become an airline pilot. Well, one of the best ways of becoming that and building your hours is through CFI and instructing. And this will essentially happen a lot, especially at a 141 school. Then that's I would say it's a lot more common. So then we have apathy due to inadequate instruction. Now, for apathy due to inadequate instruction, we can kind of break it down really, really, really simply. Apathy is if the instructor is not giving right information or proper information, and they're giving it to the student, right? The student goes home and researches, for example, WAS or RAIM. They let's say the instructor gave wrong information to the student about RAIM, about what it is, and the student goes home, they research it, and they come back with this information like, oh wow, my instructor was totally wrong. Well, then after you keep doing grounds and more grounds, that's kind of build upon itself, and the learner, or in this case the student, is going to be developing apathy toward the instructor, saying, wow, he can't do his job. I'm having to essentially fight for my life here and learn everything by myself, which can be very frustrating on the student, and that apathy will be developed toward the instructor. Then we have teaching the adult learner. Now, the adult learner, this can be derived in a few different sections right here. So the teaching the adult learner, first of all, they're going to be an adult, right? In my eyes, I'm a 22-year-old instructor, and I have a job, and I'm teaching my adult learner. Well, they're going to have a lot more experience to relate back to something they've done, or let's say I'm teaching the stages of an engine. Well, let's say they were a mechanic or whatever, right? It's going to be very easy for them to grasp onto that. Whereas if I'm teaching a private pilot student and I'm trying to teach them about the reciprocating engine and piston aircraft, and let's say they're 18 and 17 years old and they don't really know anything about an engine, well, they're not really going to have that experience to relate back to. So this is at least a benefit that comes with the adult learner. But on the other hand, you may have some older folk who will kind of be like, oh wow, this guy's only 22 years old, like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but like I'm gonna listen to him anyway. They kind of may have a little bit more of a frustrated feel, just because they may be 60, 50 years old, and you're 21, 22, 25, even 30 years old. They're going to have some frustrations, but again, people are different. Everyone's going to have a different personality type, and that's what we have to deal with in aviation, which is fine. Then we have the effective communication. Now, there's a bunch of different acronyms listed with this, so I'll break it down into 3 different sections: the basic, and the barriers, and the developing communication skills. Right. So first, we'll go over the basic elements of communication. Right. It's basic, right? We have the source, which is me, the CFI. We have the symbol being a, let's say this 747 Air Force One, right? This is going to be a symbol of what you could use to develop how the vertical lift is situated, and then the horizontal component of lift is situated, right? So we can use things like the symbols to help a student learn. And then we have the receiver, right? So SSR, this source, symbol, and then receiver. Receiver being the learner or the student. They're observing it with their eyes, and you're listening to it with their ears. They're taking all that information. Then we have the barriers to effective communication. So this is going to be the acronym COIL. So we use COIL. So we have confusion between the symbol and symbolized object. I'll break this out here. So we have confusion between the symbol and symbolized object. These things can include, actually here's a really good example. the governor system, at least on the prop system, compared to the Piper Archer, or sorry, the Piper Arrow versus the Piper Seminole. They're actually, the oil reservoir system is actually reversed. So that's a confusion symbol. Then we have the overuse of abstractions. All right, the overuse of abstractions. These are basically generalizations. Generalizations that are, say, if, for example, like that thing or the aircraft, the plane, that part, this, right? Kind of very broad topics. Or broad generalizations about the aircraft or whatever it is. So if I go up to my student and I say he doesn't even know what he's talking about, and he's maybe gotten one discovery flight, and I say, hey, okay, go pre-flight the plane. Well, what plane is it? What tail number is it? Or this part here, what am I looking for? Like, what specifically is it, right? Give them something to actually look at specifically, not just a generalization, or be specific. And as instructors, we want to be specific about what we're teaching and everything like that. Then we have interference. Interference is going to be, let's say the radio chatter is instance, or the radio chatter when you're, let's say, on flight following, or when you filed and you're trying to teach your student something, and there's ATC or whoever it is, someone on the CTAF or Unicom, whatever, they're always talking on the radio. It's going to be very hard for the student to, listen and take in that information. Just because there's so much going on in the plane, they're not used to, all the sounds and everything inside the plane. So that's going to be a big interference. Even going inside the dispatch room, when you're debriefing with your student, sometimes there can be a lot of students or a lot of chatter in there. So it's best for debriefing to kind of, maybe if there's a lot of people, maybe go into a cubicle or another room and debrief with your student. Then we have the lack of communication. So basically, this essentially is, or sorry, not lack of communication. Sorry, the lack of common experience. So lack of common experience essentially is kind of almost the opposite of teaching an adult learner, right? The student doesn't have enough grasp on a topic, and they're not going to be able to maybe learn a little bit more than they would if they were an adult learner. So the younger they are, they may not have enough experience to even understand kind of what's going on with the plane, or let's say braking, tire, the structure of whatever it is. They're not gonna have, or they're gonna be very frustrated with that, because they don't have any common experience to actually attribute to this. So that can be very frustrating for a student in that regard. And then we have the developing communication skills. All right, this is going to be the acronym LICR. And I'll pull up this file. Actually, it would probably be better if I just do this right here. This would probably be better. So the basic elements of communication, SSR, then we have barriers to effective communication, COIL, then we have developing communication skills. So we have listen, instructional communication, questioning, instructional enhancement, and role playing. So if you're on your phone or your iPad or something, I would screenshot this right here. I have a file, but it's kind of spread out a little bit because this was actually for the PTS and not the ACS. For developing communication skills, we want to make sure the student is listening. We're always listening as well as instructors. For instructional communication, we want to do things like public speaking practice, practice talking at a big event or something like that, right? We're always trying to be better. Like, for instance, me, I'm talking to the camera and things like that. So the use of questioning. Questioning is going to be very effective in developing your communicational skills, because you can ask these questions like why, how, where, when, how, why, things like that toward the student, help get their ADM thinking, or their aeronautical decision making, kind of exercise that a little bit and kind of just get them to be attributing to the conversation. If they're a little shy, just by using questioning, you can get them to attribute to a little bit more of the conversation if they're a little bit more closed off. Then we have instructional enhancement. Instructional enhancement is going to be bettering yourself as an instructor by the usage of, updating your knowledge on the chart supplement, updating your knowledge on new regulations or an AC that came out. If a special airworthiness information bulletin came out about your aircraft, then note that. So this is going to be very important as well. Then we have lastly role playing. Role playing is going to be very important for having the student essentially fully grasp a subject, and they're able to teach that rather than you can just sit there and listen and see if the information is right. But ensuring that the student can actually teach the maneuver, even when they may be not applying for the CFI certificate, but if they're a private, and then I ask them, say, all right, explain the prop system, or let's say explain how an engine works, or explain how lift works, right? They can teach me how this is important and why this matters, and what principles are acted upon this, right? So but the use of role playing is going to be very important in that. So that is going to be it, at least for the task A section of the FOIs. So the risk management, we've covered recognizing and accommodating human behavior. We've done that. And then we've identified the barriers to communication. All right, so we've gone over this. We've gone over everything. So this is going to be your task A exit right here, and I'll be coming out with another video or more videos on B through F of this subject, and then after that will be the technical subject areas. And after the technical subject areas, I'll do kind of maybe a mini section of the pre-flight preparation and actually what the check ride is going to be like. So look for those videos coming out. Make sure to subscribe. I'm the Jack Pilot. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you guys have any information pertaining to a CFI certificate, or give me your thoughts on the current state of the airline situation, or give me your situation. I'd be happy to help you out for anything going on. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm the Jack Pilot. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.